Mark, thanks for joining us for this segment for Mayor and Council One-on-One.
Oh, I always enjoy these.
Wanted to focus on the budget. Your favorite topic, would you say?
Well, it's one of my favorite topics, and the reason is it's because it's how we set priorities in a city and how we state our values, and the budget's got to be balanced, so there's choices to be made.
And what would you say about the city's budget presentation and the process overall right now?
Well, I think in the last 5 or 6 years when I've really been watching it, it has over the years improved incrementally. And I think the budget books for 20 years gotten these awards, and the city staff have been great with answering questions. So I think in general it's been pretty good.
Okay, and when Mayor Mercutio, in her inaugural address, she decided to have a budget and finance task force, and you were the liaison to that task force. Can you talk a little bit about the work that's been done on that task force?
Right. There were 3 subgroups on financial management principles, the budget process itself, and the budget book. And I did bring an example of the budget book, and you can see it's pretty big tome. And the task force really concentrated on how to improve all these things and made recommendations to the city.
And are you happy with kind of the results that came out of the research and the work for that task force?
I'm very happy. I think the people who joined were very expert, and they worked many, many hours, and we had very good interactions with city staff. We interviewed former Mayor Susan Hoffman. You know, so a lot of work went into it, a lot of resources were consulted. I was very happy with the outcome.
And do you think that the average citizen has a good understanding about the city's budget, or do you think it comes across as kind of complex?
I think most citizens do not have a good idea of it, and you know, it can be a daunting thing to try to understand the budget process and the budget itself.
And in terms of this year's FY12, we're in the process of it right now, that budget, how are things looking from your perspective?
Well, I think we will have challenges because, you know, the revenues have been flat, and some expenses like retirement and insurance and things like that have gone up. Fiscal year 11, we had a salary freeze for city staff, but that will go off. Won't be a big increase in 12, but it will be there. So there will be challenges, yes.
Transparency, continual improvement, something that city staff kind of strives for with everything we do. Do you think we are there in terms of the budget process right now?
I think the budget is probably one of the more transparent across the country, but you know, any human organization, any endeavor can be improved, and there's no harm in having a task force look at things from outside.
Can you take us through maybe back, I think before you were elected to council, a lot of people recognized you as kind of a budget expert. Can you give our viewers some background on what you do during your day job a little bit?
Right. I help organizations conduct complex government, economic, social research, and mostly with electronic questionnaires on laptops or computers.
And so that helps when, would you say that kind of crosses over into your work with the city's budget?
Well, I think in the sense that you really have to, well, like economic surveys, for example, there's all these economic concepts, but just, you know, being very analytical, you know, looking at it from top down, burrowing in when you have to, yes, in that sense it does.
What would you say to the average citizen who does in fact say, wow, that's kind of daunting, I don't even know where to begin, I don't know how to read it? What would you say to them in terms of how to get access to the city's budget?
Right. The city has on its website a number of documents, and for example, there's a popular annual financial report, which is meant for the average citizen who wants to spend maybe 10 minutes or even an hour looking at the city budget, and that's a very good source to get started. If you're interested in the city budget itself, citizens come more to advocate for something. You know, caregiver grants, golf course, whatever. That's how they usually engage. They're not that concerned with how it gets budgeted, but the advocacy, I think, is a very important part, and we welcome that.
Would you say, Mark, that Rockville is in pretty good standing compared to other municipalities in terms of how our numbers are looking right now? Yeah,
we're fortunate. Of the 4 levels of government we live under, this is the only solvent level, and you know, we do that. There's conservative financial planning, conservative assumptions made in the budget, and you know, we are an economic engine, and we benefit from that. But you know, it's not the good old days anymore. You know, we're flat revenue, which is a lot better than down revenue, and And we just have to be very careful how we proceed for a few years.
Well, moving forward, we will cover on the channel the budget proceedings and invite residents to come and weigh in, give their thoughts and comments. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we do welcome the citizen comments, and we have put in earlier budget hearings, for example, hearings throughout the process, and the citizens are always welcome to contact mayor and council by any means. But I really think if people think something's very important to them, to let us know. It's the job of the elected and city staff to balance it at the end of the day. But this year and next year there will be choices, and we will have to make some tough choices.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us for this segment, Mark. Appreciate it.
I appreciate the chance, Bridget. Thank you very much.